Hey, well, good evening, everybody. It's Dave coming to you from the front porch here in Southern Maryland. It's about 6 o'clock Saturday evening, and it's been raining. It rained all night, rained all day. It's currently not raining right now, but it's so wet out back. There's no way I'm going to do a fire, and it's supposed to kind of keep raining, so it just seems silly to do that. So we'll do a front porch cigar. I'm turned around kind of almost opposite of the way I normally am. So you're looking kind of down my front yard because I wanted to be able to show you some of my exterior illumination. So I've got a GFI fault is what just happened there. It's been raining so much it turns it off, but at least you got to see it. Anyway, it's so wet out there it keeps throwing the ground fault. So we've already reset it a few minutes ago, so probably not going to try again right now. So I put up my review of St. Bruno's earlier today, and I was telling you in that video I just had a nice slow morning and didn't really get over to the paddock till probably, my gosh, 1:30, 2 o'clock. By the time I got a few things done at the paddock and did the St. Bruno's video and got back over here, family we were all chatting a little bit, and then Emery wanted to have an early dinner, so rather than jump out to the fire pit, plus it was probably too wet to do it, we just had dinner, and so I decided to do this after dinner. But it reminds me of so I'll tell you a little bit about dinner, and then I've got a story. So we had a salad for dinner tonight, and overall it was a tasty salad, but I'm not much of a salad for dinner kind of guy. And it was basically a nice fancy salad with lemon and olive oil on it, which is really tasty. But it was reminiscent for my mom, for Anne-Marie and for Lauren, because it's called the 1905 salad, and it's served on Siesta Key down in Sarasota, which is only about 10 minutes from where my daughter goes to school. So for them, it was a big reminiscent moment of earlier in the year. For me, it was just a nice salad, which is totally fine. Tasted great, by the way. But it reminded me of me growing up. In my family, my dad, I only saw my dad tell my mom what to do twice. And both times revolved around dinner. So I remember the first time, I was pretty little. I don't remember. I was probably 10 years old or something. But my mom had cooked rutabaga for dinner and mashed it all up and put butter and stuff in it, put it at the center of the table. And it was bright orange mash. And my dad looked at it and said, What is that? And my dad had come from the toe of Virginia, the very, very rural, almost Kentucky. It was called Chilhowie, Virginia. Dirt farmer. He was born in 1914. They came from nothing. So they raised hogs and did a few things on the farm. So I fast forward to dinner, probably 1974, 75. And she said, well, I wanted to try some rutabaga, so that's what that is. And my dad looked at her and said, that's pig food, woman. We don't eat that here. And we went out for dinner that night. Still a pretty funny story for me. And we never had rutabaga again. Anyway, my dad had grown up where rutabaga was something you grew on the farm to chop up and as bulk for hog feed. He had never seen or heard of humans eating it before, so that was pretty funny. I was definitely a one-way gate. He wasn't going back through that gate. He was like, no, we're not doing this. So my other story about dinner was with my dad was, I don't know, so 5, 6, 7 years later, old enough that I was a teenager, and I have really good memories of this. So my mom, it was all the rage. What was that? I was probably 15, so probably 1980, 80, 81. It was all the rage to have like chefs salads were a big deal in the United States back then. So it's meat and cheeses and stuff cut up into your salad. And so my mom thought, without asking or telling anybody, that we were going to have chef salads for dinner. So that night, she puts this giant bowl of salad, like a chef salad, on our plates, and we eat it. My dad, when he gets done, he goes, "Man, that was the best salad I ever had. What's for dinner?" And my mom was, "Well, that the salad was dinner." My dad was like, "No, salad's not dinner. Salad's what you eat before dinner. And we're going out for dinner." So we got up and went out for dinner that night again too, and that was the last time we had chef salads for dinner. So those are the two memories that popped up. I was telling you about my dinner tonight. So due to lack of total creativity on my part, I'm back to smoking another Partagas Black. I know you can't really see that, but Partagas Black. For me, when I don't want to figure out what I want to smoke, I just pick up one of these. Man, how crazy was it to see Greg Tunnel Take out there on his motorcycle in a short sleeve shirt? It's pretty crazy. Anytime I guess you can get the bike out, the end of December is a pretty good day. So I've gotten to enjoy doing tobacco reviews. I just learned not to take it so seriously and not try to be, as good as everybody else. I really just trying to do more like of the common man review. People who don't have years of experience and have probably a kind of an undeveloped palate like mine and an undeveloped vocabulary like mine. So I just try to use very simple, and like when I do like the pouch note, or when I do how it tastes, I just try to use really basic language and wording, because that's what works for me. But I do not enjoy making them because it makes me more aware of what I'm doing, what I'm smoking, what I'm smelling, what I'm tasting, and how much I like it. Because most of the time this is pretty good. That's what most of I taste a blend, I'm like, that's pretty good. But doing the reviews for you guys really teaches me I have to do more than that. I go, man, I really like this, and here's why I really like it. Or, it's okay. Or I'm gonna put this one away for a year. I really have to think about why, and I like that. So I enjoyed watching Potter Piper's 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. That boy's got a mean streak in him, doesn't he? So close. Paul and Rinky Dink. That was kind of funny, but it was pretty mean too. Made me laugh. Anyway, it's nice to see the first one done. I've got 151, 152. I've got them all entered in a spreadsheet, so the rows tell me how many I have, and I'll use the row number for my random selection. So I was practicing. I found a random, the wheel, the spinning wheel for the random number generator. So I was practicing with that today. I'm practicing showing it next to the spreadsheet so you guys can see. You can see the list of names, but with their number, and the generator generating the number, so it's easy to see. Because I kind of want to do it for all you guys on screen so you can see it happening real time. Because I've never done anything like this before, so this should be kind of interesting. Anyway, kudos to Potter Piper to get his done so well. So guys, I have one CEO school item for you tonight, I believe. And that is, what are we planning for? So I had one of my current students send me a schedule he wanted to try to maintain, and it was obvious to me he was trying to maximize efficiency, maximize the time he was spending at work, maximize his output. And I think in his case in particular, but I think for most of us, we need to be careful about sustainability. When we lay down expectations on ourselves, we tend to say, well, I'm going to plan out every hour. I'm going to maximize my output per hour. And so we tend to set unrealistic effort goals. How many hours a day we're going to be at this, or how productive it's going to be, particularly the first 3 to 6 months. So what I prefer to see you do when you start planning is plan out goals that may be relatively easy to obtain the first week, the first month, the first quarter. Because once you start missing your goals, you start breaking down emotionally. Your plan doesn't seem real. You stop believing in it and you give up on it entirely. So, if you're going to plan out, like if you're doing a second gig, or you're doing a pipe shop, or you're doing a gunsmithing, or you're doing, how many hours a day can you do it beyond your regular day for real? And you say, well, I'm going to put 6 extra hours a day in every day, and then all day Saturday and Sunday. That's probably not realistic. I find most people, particularly in the beginning when they're starting to build the muscles, right? You're going to side gig gym, right? And the side gig gym, you get sore just like you would any other gym. And, I suggest planning on 2 or 3 hours a day, half a day on Saturday and none on Sunday. See how that goes for the first week or 2 or 3. If you can attain those goals, maybe you put a little more time in, build up over time. Over the first quarter, the first 6 months, you get a better sense of what you can really put in effort-wise. The other thing I would recommend is you under-predict, under-promise your productivity level. And, really provide happiness to yourself when you overachieve it. What's the classic saying? Under-promise, over-deliver. Really practice that as you kind of lay out, especially if you're starting to plan out 2025 now as we get into these last week. Be realistic about what goals you want to achieve and what timeline you want to achieve them. We tend to woefully underestimate how long things will take, both by the hour, by the week, and then how many hours, how many weeks it will take to produce each goal. So, be a little easy on yourself the first few goals, first few weeks, first couple of months of the year. Because you want to prove to yourself that you can do it. You don't want to prove to yourself that you can't do it. Because once you start missing goals, missing commitments, breaking promises to yourself, it becomes kind of a cascading set of failures. Failure becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Very hard to break that downward spiral and get back to neutral and start on an upward spiral. So just be careful how much you expect to have yourself on a daily, weekly, monthly basis until you have the muscles built up to do it. I don't know if it seems weird to you that I'm kind of sitting out here in the dark. Luckily, the little Christmas tree is on in our living room, and the lights come through the window, light us up a little bit. But I enjoy the dark. I enjoy low light settings. I always have. Like when I'm in the paddock by myself, if I'm not doing car work, if I'm doing YouTube work, watching YouTubes, making YouTubes, doing my investment stuff, I really have all the lights turned off except for 3 or 4 kind of floor lamps. And that low level light I've always found has helped me stay concentrated. If I'm doing desk work, I like a desk lamp on that's lighting up what I'm working on. But the rest of the place is pretty dim. I've always liked that. I discovered that back in college. I was better at doing homework in a quiet, clean, organized, dark place with the light on. Because I was studying a book or writing a paper. I was better. It helped me focus. And it still does today. God, was it 40 years later, I'm still that way. I like doing my fireside chats by the light of the fire, the light of the coals even. The picture I had from, I think, yesterday's was really just the end of the fire. It was the bed of coals that I was finishing the video with. Here, I'll spin you around and show you what I'm talking about with the tree shining through the front window. This is literally how the phone is facing, but if I turn it, you can kind of see the tree through there, and so you can see how much light is coming through that front window. So that's kind of what's lining us up as we do this video. I always highlight people that I'm working with who have made big changes and have got 2025 kind of under their control as to whether they're going to improve their life or not. And I got to add another one. I had a great video chat with Sean at Ghost Cobb, and we probably talk not every week, but we talk every couple of weeks. He likes the video chat, so we do FaceTime quite a bit. And his comment to me was, "I am living my best life today," and one thing he hasn't done a very good job of is telling you how much he's done, how hard he worked in 2025, where he was 1 year ago this week versus where he is today. He has worked so hard, and his life is so much better than even 6 or 8 months ago. And it's because of the work he's put into it. And he's got plans for 2025, and he's working those plans. And this is another guy who has taken charge of his life and isn't waiting for life to give him a blessing. He isn't waiting for God to bless him. He isn't waiting for the new year to, just by flipping the calendar, we're going to have a better life. He is working it, and he has been for months. So I just want to add him to the list. We got Jim, CJ's Garage, Paul at Pipes of Old, and Sean at Ghost Cobb. So there are real examples in our own little group of people who are just killing it by taking charge, and I do admire that. I'm trying to do the same thing myself. All these investment talks, I probably spend 3 to 6 hours a day working it. I every day. Certainly during the business days, but even on holidays and weekends, I spend a lot of time taking courses, watching videos, learning, studying, recording, trying to understand what's working, what's not working. The amount of time it takes to grab a hold of things and make them happen can be quite stunning sometimes. But anyway, just wanted to throw Sean out there because we had a great call today. So I thought I'd show you. I'm looking down my driveway, and we have one other house way down at the end. They're quite a ways away, a quarter mile or more, but if I zoom in on them, I'm hoping you've got all the Christmas lights out. Pretty cool to see that through the woods. And if I walk you out into my front yard, I'm looking probably further than that. This is probably a half mile away. There's another guy. He's way away, but he's got a tree lit in his yard. And I can see these things through the woods. It looks pretty cool. Doesn't come across on camera like I wish it would. But there's his. There's my neighbor's. And then there's my office. There's the front tree. About the only time you can see my cigar being smoked. Look at that. I'm also full of all sorts of visual effects tonight. I think we can talk a little bit more about friends. It's a subject obviously has landed with many of you. And we talk about it. So I'm 60. I've not been good at keeping up with my old time friends. I'm only friends with one person from high school and only a couple from college. When I had a pretty large ring of friends back then, I just didn't put the time in to get it done. And I had a ring of 4 or 5 of us that were very close here, but they've either died, moved to get away from DC, or have become so whipped by their wife in their later years that I can't really do anything with them. But that I found this new ring of friends in Wyoming, and I found this ring of friends here. I don't mean it as a bad thing, and I'm worried that some of you took it as bad. Like, some of your comments have been like, yeah, I don't have any friends, or, life isn't as good as it could be because I don't have any friends. And I'm not sure I don't mean it as a bad thing. I only bring it up because, we have this. Some of you say, well, I don't have any friends except for the virtual world. And I'm not sure I don't know if that's bad anymore. That is my Amazon man showing up. They drive those funky electric trucks now with that huge array of lights around the back. It looks hilarious. I feel sorry for the Amazon drivers out here, are all from Baltimore downtown. I mean, definitely, from the hood, and then they have to drive out here, and it scares them to drive out here where there's no lights and everyone's got dogs. And I've had my driver, and I've talked several times about, he's so worried he's going to get shot out here someday. I said, dude, we feel the exact same way every time we go into downtown Baltimore. Poor guy walked up on me talking, scared the hell out of him. I try to leave all the lights on, especially around the garage, because I know they deliver till about 8 or 9 o'clock here this time of year. And there he goes. It's pretty good entertainment, right? Watching my Amazon driver drive away. This is wicked good YouTube content happening right here, right in front of your own eyes. I bet you none of you can come up with content this riveting. He's coming back up the driveway. Okay, I didn't see that happening. So one thing I'm trying to get better at, especially as trying to work developing friendships, is getting better at saying things that I've not been very good at saying, and I don't think maybe in the male world we've been good at doing, and that's telling people, especially new friends in the beginning, saying, hey, I appreciate this friendship. Hey, I don't make friends easy. Hey, I'm surprised at 60 that I've met you and that we're becoming friends. That I really appreciate kind of what's happening here. So, thanks for that. And it sounds weird at first, but I haven't had it where I've said it either via text to some of you or in these videos or face to face with my Wyoming guys, where it hasn't been responded pretty much in kind with, hey, I have the exact same experience. I'm pretty sure that what we've been talking about in the last few videos isn't pretty widespread, or maybe universally felt by most people, particularly guys. I can't speak to women because I ain't one. And I watch my wife. She's got a ring of 5 or 6, and that's enough, right? She really couldn't handle more than that, but she's got 5 or 6 that she's really close to. And I really encourage her to go on weekend trips with them, or go out to dinner with them, or one of them, or all of them. Take them to the Wyoming house. And I found that by being that way with her, she is much more open to me, developing new friends, because that takes away from her time. Greg talked about it on his motorcycle today. There's usually a jealousy within the spouse when you start to make new friends, because it does. Every hour, I think it's perceived as every hour, every trip, every dollar you spend on that friendship is one less that's spent at home. And I think I've been able to overcome that by encouraging Anne Marie to really embrace her friends and keep them and grow those friendships, not let them atrophy. And she's been much more open to my trips to Wyoming and the friendships I've developed there. Anyway, just a thought. So one thing Greg said in his video on the motorcycle today, I take a little bit of difference with, is the don't buy. Um, I have found it to be really effective to say, let's go out, I'll buy you a beer. Hey, let's go to lunch, I'll buy you some lunch. I don't see that as a whole lot different than when you package up a pipe and some tobacco and we send it to somebody for no reason other than we want to be generous. I find that to be especially true if there's income disparities or net worth disparities. If I know someone's kind of hurting with money, the last thing I would do is ask them to do things that make it worse. So anyway, that's just my thought on, if I send you something, I'm not trying to buy your friendship, that's for sure. If I take somebody out for lunch, I've got a couple friends that for 5 years, I've bought them lunch every time we've gone out. I've bought the drinks every time we've gone out. only out of respect for understanding the difference of where I'm at in life and where they are. It's not really intended to buy friendship. Because I'll do the same thing in Wyoming. Buddy of mine had his favorite cigars, but he was out of work in between summer and fall work kicking in, kind of struggling, has a big new truck payment. So I bought a box of his favorites and had him put it in his box. And someone told him who did it. But he was appreciative, and I don't think there's a thought in his head that I'm trying to buy his friendship. And all the things I send out, some of you guys make videos about what I do. I'm not trying to buy your friendship, that's for sure. So anyway, I extrapolate that mindset, which I think you can understand being in this group, to other things that we do for each other. Anyway, so I think that's sometimes an important way to really get a friendship kick-started, is to say, let me take you to dinner, or let me I don't think you're struggling at home, or your wife just left you, or your kids are doing something crazy. Let me take you to dinner. Let's get you out of that situation for a couple hours. I just find that a powerful way to move things along as a friendship. The other thing that I think we sometimes don't realize is friendships take work. They take FaceTime. In this world, in today's world, and you see me do, a lot of you, I do this with, I send you texts, I send you pictures, about my life, about my dogs, about my cars, about, whatever I'm doing. I do that. I send a lot of texts, and, because some of us just aren't going to be able to meet, or if we meet, it'll be once or twice in our life kind of thing. So, for us online friendships, I just think even online friendships take work. Watch your friends' videos, like them, comment on them. That's doing the work. I hate using that word, but I don't have a better one. And it's putting in the effort to boost the friendship. Even these online friendships still need work, and there's lots of ways to do it. And it takes nothing, to click like. It takes no effort to comment on the video. It takes almost no effort to get their cell phone number and send them text and develop that text relationship. Outside of YouTube, really is very little work if you think about it. Anyway, I found it to be very effective, and many of you who are in my YouTube world, we have that now. And my best friend in here is probably Potter Piper, and we've been able to take it from YouTube to text to a bunch of phone calls, and then we eventually, we've met face to face twice, and then he's come to Wyoming with me once. So, this is kind of what I consider the slightest bit of effort. These friendships can really grow. So let's be honest too about we generally take frustration from one event and dump it on the rest of our lives. And most of us in here have a little age on us, and life takes shots at us every day or every week or every month or every year. And then when you get 60 years on you, that's probably several hundred, if not several thousand examples of life taking pot shots at us. I feel it in myself. The whole world's out to get me. The whole world's out to screw me. So everyone you meet's out to screw you. And you can translate that to people trying to be nice to you, people trying to become friends with us. We view it as a jaundiced eye. What do you want? When's the other shoe gonna drop? When's the real reason you're trying to be friends with me, becomes identified. And I'll be honest, I feel it. At 60 years old, I've had many a bad experience. The bad medical condition, the bad illness, the unexpected death. People trying to steal from you, actual thievery, electronic thievery, identity theft, credit theft. Every time I do investments, I'm wondering if the other side is really just trying to steal it from me. I feel it. So I get that feeling. The question is, can we overcome that and set that aside in a moment of trust when it's someone trying to really befriend us and really work that relationship, and maybe not come at it from a total view of what's this person really want. I think us older guys really tend to do that. Rightfully so, by the way. It's not a judgment. And again, it's not one of these for thee and not for me. I feel it. I get it. I'm saying this from experience. These are my scars talking, not my brilliance, right? And I'd say over the last 3-4 years, I've really tried to set that aside when it's an individual human that I'm dealing with. Sometimes it still burns me, by the way. It's still not 100%, but if I set that aside, I've been much more successful at being approachable, being friendable, both here inside YouTube, us virtual friends, and then, my actual friends, particularly out in Wyoming. I've really just taken it from just taking things at face value and not trying to impose my 60 years of, shitbags, jaundicing every person I come in contact with. Pretty ugly life if we do that. Pretty lonely life too, and that's not what I want. So anyway, and the other thing we have to work beyond is, even if we're happily married, and I love Anne-Marie. I've been with her since '88, not going anywhere. But we have to fight the becoming an island of two people in the world. And Greg had the point on the motorcycle that wives tend to hold us close and get jealous of anything we try to do outside the two of us or outside the family. We just have to find a way to work past that. My way has been to encourage Anne-Marie to work with her 5 closest friends and just keep those nice and tight and do things with them on a regular basis. And I don't know what will work for you or your relationship, but particularly as you retire, and Dave, Central Cal Piper, comes to my mind. He's a month away, 2 months away from actually retiring. And when you have nowhere to go every day and no one calls you and no one texts you and all that falls away, no one gives a shit if you get out of bed or not. No one cares if you pick up the phone or not. No one really cares what you do all day, every day. That's not good. And for the only person for you to have interface with is your wife when she's home from work is not a good, healthy life. So we have to come up with, I'm not picking on Dave, by the way, and we're all either there or going to be there soon, I hope. It's easy to sit at home. It's easy to just have your wife and your wife be the only real relationship in your life. And you can kind of cover that up, say, no, I have a good relationship with my kids, but if they're adult kids, how much time do you really see them? How much time do you really spend with them on a 365-day year basis? How many of those days are really spent with your grown kids? So sometimes we hide behind that a little bit. So anyway, that's why I keep harping on pre-retirement, have a plan for post-retirement, because having nothing to do ever having no contact with any humans ever sounds great, and it is for the first few weeks, but then it gets really old, and we have to have a way to break past that and make friends. All right, guys, I think last topic tonight, and I'm not going to be able to flesh it out for you, but I'm going to introduce you to the concept. This goes to the question about if you're a guy with like $500, what do you do with it? And I've talked to you about silver. I've talked to you about some of the crypto ETFs, things you can do that aren't really scary and don't cost a lot of money, and that you can roll small amounts of money in week after week or paycheck after paycheck over the next several weeks and months and even all of 2025, and probably have a different get your money working for you. So I've got another idea that I've been introduced to in the last week or two, and I'm starting to move money into. And so remember, you'll die penniless if you do anything I suggest, because this is not financial advice, because I cannot give you financial advice. I'm merely telling you what I'm learning and what I'm doing. So remember, you'll probably die penniless if you do this. But can you imagine if you'd bought into some of the internet stocks before the internet blew up, or if you'd bought into some of the online sales shops before online sales had gone crazy? So if you bought into Apple before it went crazy, or Amazon before it went crazy, or Google before it went crazy, or Microsoft, you know, most of us missed the tech wave, most of us missed the internet waves, and most of us missed some of the waves the internet created, like online sales. But another wave is coming out. It's called quantum computing. It will sound like bullshit magic, but it's not. There's another monster wave coming at us, and which company is going to be the Google? Who knows? So it's risky, but some of these stocks are going to go up. They're going to be 10x, 50x, 100x. Some are going to be worth zero. But the quantum computing world is starting to get defined in the public stock market. And so I'm starting to move money into a few, and maybe I'll put money in 5 or 10 of them. Some of them will blow up. Some will get acquired by the big beasts. And I'll talk to you more about the stocks that I think are worthy of me moving money. And I'm sitting out here in the dark, so I'm not going to do it tonight. I'll have to write it down and give you real stock ticker symbols and stock values. But it's like Bitcoin. You don't have to buy $100,000 Bitcoin. You can buy $50 chunks of an ETF. You don't have to put $1 million into silver. You can buy a $30 coin when you can. Same with these stocks. Ionic is one. Google is another, by the way, where you can put a little bit of money and buy one share, or buy $50 worth or $100 worth every paycheck, or every Friday, or once a month, or whatever you're comfortable with. But you can start building a little bit of a footprint in the quantum computing world. Some of the ones you're going to pick are going to be worthless. Some are going to be worth 100 times. So if you get $500 or $1,000 in 5 plays, and even one of them goes to 100x, that's real money, and it'll take 2, 3, 4 years for that to become true. But that's another example. I just want to keep giving you guys real world examples where regular people can put a little bit of money and potentially share in the next wave. So those are my thoughts. I'll do a better job of this, but I wanted to start introducing it. Sometimes it's better to hear a concept and wash all that guffaw bullshit, out of your head, and then maybe you can hear, the real suggestions next time. We'll see. And as a regular person, if we can take advantage of buying into the crypto world, buying into the precious metal world, and buying into like a quantum computing world, and you start to spread your money out, starting to work for you. A little bit of diversification, but that's another way you can participate in the stock market. And even if the S&P takes a real dump next year, some of these individuals that are flying, the tide may drop them down a little bit, but I don't think it'll drop them down a lot. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, and I like talking about what I'm doing because it's I get nothing for it. whether you do it or not, it's totally up to you. So anyway, that's the investment concept I wanted to stick out in the video today. Maybe you'll die penniless if you do any of this. Well, my God, this is 40 minutes long. That's long even for me. I apologize. 40 minutes in the dark. This is riveting YouTube content, I can tell. Anyway, guys, that's enough. Let's call it a night. So, guys, as always, may God bless you. May God bless the lives of those around you. My biggest hope is that God will turn his ear towards your prayer, that he will make his face shine upon you, and that he bless your life as much as he continues to bless mine. Hope you guys had a good Saturday. Hope you got a great Sunday in front of you. I hope you got a good New Year's week planned out in front of you. That's it. Talk to you tomorrow on Sunday, everybody. Good night.